My name is Carol Ann Waugh, and I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm a fiber artist. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about a finishing technique that I use on all my pieces. It's called Rattail binding. I'm going to show you a couple of pieces where I've used this finishing technique. You can see the edges are straight and strong. This is because there is a satin cord that lies underneath the zigzag stitching, and that gives the edge a firmer feel. I have used this technique on very large pieces measuring over 6 feet in height and length. See, I've just made up a little sample piece here that's been quilted because this is the last step of the process. And the first thing we have to do is stabilize the edge, and we're going to do that by zigzagging around the piece. Okay, the first thing that you want to do is you want to pin the cord to the edge of your piece. I do that because the cord is pretty slippery and I don't want it moving around. I would normally use a matching thread to the cord, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm choosing black thread so you can really see the stitches. You want to make sure that your cord lies on the edge of your piece, not over and not under, so right at the edge. And having a foot that has a mark on it so that you can see where your stitches are going is very helpful. Okay, let's start. We start with a zigzag stitch, and I usually just use a relatively small one because I don't want it to show. And so in this Bernina, it's a 3.3 width. And basically you want to hold your cord as you're sewing and use your needle down position to turn your corner. When you turn your corner, you don't want to pull the cord too tightly because it'll distort the corner. And when you come to a corner, you want to end up with your needle on the outside edge of your piece, on the inside edge of your cord. Now the only tricky part of this whole technique is how do you join the two ends. So what you want to do is you want to sew down to about an inch, stop your machine, and use a very sharp scissors and cut your thread, your cord, perpendicular. And the secret technique that I use is my seam ripper, and it holds the cord next to the edge, and I can sew right over it. Then you take it off your machine and flip it over so you can see where that cord should be cut. And I cut mine a smidgen longer than you think you should cut it, because if you cut it too short, you'll be really sad. Okay, so again, we turn it over and we sew toward us, and again, push that cord next to your piece. And that's the first round. Again, it looks a little messy because it's in black thread, but if this was in red thread, you wouldn't even see that. This is a close-up of where the two ends meet, and you can see it looks a little messy right now because I'm using black thread, but if I were using red thread, you wouldn't even see this. The final step of this technique is to sew all around the edge one more time, but what we're going to do is we're going to shorten our stitch and widen the width. I hope you've enjoyed this new technique, and I invite you to visit my website where you'll see all the instructions in print. My website is www.carolanwaugh.com.